American man. No one pay attention to what's in my head. I got a voice inside that needs to be fed. It's causing chaos everywhere I land. I got a fever. I got a fever.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Ohio Sports Talk. I am your host, Doug. That's the coach, Jordan Maxson. Jordan, it is officially NFL kickoff week. I am beyond excited. I know you are pumped up too. We have finally made it. We got through the summer, and we have finally arrived. It is kickoff week. How you feeling, buddy?
Like you said it perfectly, Douglas. We got through all the preseason. We got through the hype. We got through the draft. We got through the long waiting period, and we are finally here. It is 100% game time. It's nut up or shut up. We can say it a million different ways. But we have made it to the finish line. Week 1 is here. Thursday is going to be here before you know it. Then Sunday for the major kickoffs. You know, Douglas, I am ready. We've analyzed it. We've watched the free agents come and go. We've watched the cuts. We're going to touch on it all tonight. But I am ready to rumble. So, yes, ready to rumble in the jungle. I know that. I know Cleveland's ready to rumble against Dallas. So, let's dive right into it. Let's tackle it. And let's go in. Well, how we feeling? How we thinking when it comes to Cleveland?
Well, Jordan, if we're gonna get right into it, let's do it. I'm feeling pretty good. The Browns, everything seems to kind of be coming back together health wise. We're getting Jack Conklin back. We're getting some different names back into the role. Denzel Ward came back from his head issues. Everything seems to be trending in the right direction health-wise. We know Jed is going to be out for a little while. He did not practice this week. He's got the DMPs. But I'm feeling more confident as this week goes along in terms of the Browns' health. I am still worried about Deshaun Watson not playing at all, but we've talked about that. We've harped on that. I have to move on. I feel pretty good, Jordan. I feel pretty good. I feel like it's going to be a pick-em type game. It's going to be a close game. I'm excited, man. We have what 6 days now until football starts. The offensive line is healthy. We got DeJuan Jones. We got Jack Conklin returning, like I told you. We've got our 3 guys in the middle. I mean, we're set. Yep. We're in a really good spot.
Big shout out to DeJuan Jones because him saying that he'll play right or left tackle wherever his services are needed. That's a fucking winner. That is somebody that is ready to really grasp his role for whatever Cleveland is and take off. But I'll let you continue. It was just a small shout out.
No, you're right. Cowboys win and cover. That is the dumbest fucking thing I've heard all day.
Who runs that? Who runs that?
That guy. Get that Mark out of here. If that guy's not talking about wrestling, I don't want to hear a damn thing that guy's got to say. Get him the hell out of here. But I agree. Dallas is going to be a tough game. Watson has to play well for us to win that game. I believe in this defense. This defense is going to be ready. Dalvin Tomlinson's going to be back. Everything is looking health-wise okay on the defense. Greg Newsome's back. Corners-wise, we are ready. We are ready, Jordan, for CeeDee Lamb in this Dallas passing attack. They've got Jake Ferguson to go with CeeDee Lamb. I'm not totally, worried necessarily about their run game. It's going to be a lot of Dak Prescott, Jordan, and I'm confident that Dak Prescott will make a mistake. I bet he throws for a bunch of yards, but I think we can contain him if we can contain CeeDee Lamb. I like the matchup of switching Ward, switching Emerson, switching these guys and giving CeeDee Lamb different looks, bracketing him obviously with the safety because you can't guard him one-on-one too many times or you will get burned. Hopefully CeeDee Lamb has a little bit of that ring rust on him, not practicing, waiting for that contract, some of that kind of stuff. And we're getting him week 1, so we might be able to catch him there. I'm excited, dude. I am excited. People are asking me what I'm doing on Sunday. Dude, I'm going to be sitting on my couch and I'm not going to be doing a damn thing. I'm sorry. I appreciate your invitations. I appreciate you asking me what I'm doing. It's Browns week 1, 425 national TV. I've got to be locked in. The team needs me, Jordan. The team needs me more than anybody else needs me right now. So super excited. Let's flip it, Jordan. From your perspective, how are things looking for Cleveland?
Hey, they're going to miss you in Middletown, Douglas, but the team needs you. I'm 110%, locked in on that because my team needs me too. 1 p.m. kickoff is against the Patriots. We know that we know Jacoby Brissett will start the game. We don't know if he'll end the game, Douglas, but we know Jacoby Brissett's going to start the game for the Patriots, and I'm a little worried. The Patriots are going to come out running. No, I'm worried. Not in the sense, do I think the Cincinnati Bengals will lose? Absolutely not. I think this is going to be a testament to the defensive line. So this is, our depth there is questionable. We picked up some waiver wire moves there on defensive end, but the defensive tackle is still going to be tested, Douglas. So
yeah,
the Patriots are going to come out and they're going to try to smash the ball against this unknown defensive line on the interior of the Cincinnati Bengals. Now the Bengals are going to come out and score points, Douglas, and they're going to force Jacoby Brissett to pass. So I'm not worried about winning, but I'm worried about that first quarter. How do they look? How does this new D line? We know Reader's gone. It's it's a new era defensive tackle for us.
Definitely.
How does the mutant from Michigan, if he's going to come out and play big time minutes because of injuries? We got Joseph Osai has been the biggest question mark the last 3 years. He's finally healthy. Is he going to come out and make a play? Those are the things I'm going to be looking at. I know the offense is going to take care of itself outside of our run game for the Cincinnati Bengals just because it's so new. Chase Brown and company, Joe Mixon era is officially over. We have a much better offensive line. Joe Burrow just got through his first training camp, knock on wood.
Right.
For the first time ever, he got drafted in COVID, then he had the injury, then we had another injury. So it's just been kind of wishy-washy coming out of that. They've only done one series together on offense, so we need to answer more questions. Will Jamar Chase play? Douglas, I'm not worried about it because it's New England. So, T. Higgins and everybody else further down the line were talented enough to take care of business week 1, regardless if Uno plays. But that week 2 game, we'll get into it next episode. That's where we need the contract to be sealed, signed, and delivered. But I'm excited, Doug. I have us winning by.
Wait, Jordan, we're going to do that on Thursday. Remember.
Okay.
We're going to do that on Thursday. We have.
I get excited. I get excited.
Down. We're going to break down the games a little bit further. We're going to make predictions on Thursday. We're excited about the games.
Yes.
Obviously, a lot going on football-wise. Kickoff week starts that Thursday night. We have, obviously, Kansas City versus Baltimore, 8:20 on Peacock. That's going to be a hell of a game, Jordan.
And whoever loses that game, Douglas, we win. So it's really going to be entertaining.
Definitely. So let's transition, Jordan, to some college football. The Ohio State Buckeyes played this weekend. Jordan, clock hit zeros. What were your initial reactions? What were your initial thoughts on Ohio State? Because I think everybody felt a little bit differently after the game. What were your initial thoughts after the whistles hit zeros?
I felt like the run game, and I alluded to this on an episode right before kickoff, the run game was not established enough, in my opinion. The stats are going to say they got it done, and they did, Douglas, when it comes to the stat sheet. But the long, consistent drives in the run game is just something I thought we'd see more of. But that was my only big concern. Defense was tested kind of early, but when our offense goes 3 and out in the first series, I felt the energy in the room was probably on the sideline was a little bit down, and the defense wasn't really that locked in. But that they answered all the questions on defense for me. It's just reestablishing that run game and making it a 3-headed monster with the option and the 2 running backs we got. But other than that, Douglas, fantastic. Our freshman wide receiver is playing like a junior. 2 big touchdowns for him. Welcome to the Buckeyes. Welcome to the Big Ten. So really excited for that young man. Defense, we got to see JT recorded his first sack of the season. I know that was something you were harping on. Is he going to do it consistently week in and week out? We'll tell when we get to that Michigan State game, but we'll bounce all to that later. But my only worry, Douglas, is that the offensive line getting more consistency and more push, and that run game breaking those big runs, early and often. What did you see? What's kind of in your thought process?
So we obviously live tweeted this game and gave some quick thoughts afterward, but offensive line, Jordan, was my main concern. after watching the game. Now, early, there was 2 solid runs. We had 2 solid, like 9-ish yard runs. Outside of those runs, Jordan, I felt like the O-line in the first half really struggled to move Akron off the ball and move them out and create lanes for our running backs. I think Judkins and Henderson are going to be a great duo, but that you still, as talented as these guys are, you still have to have some kind of push up front. You have to move somebody out of the way up front, and it was not happening in that first quarter, and it wasn't happening really in that first half, and that's, in my opinion, led to some of the slow start. As the game went along, and we wore on them, and we used the size to kind of wear down Akron, some holes started to pop up. Judkins ended up with 55 yards. Henderson ended up with 65 yards. Peoples came in for 30. Judkins had the rushing touchdowns. Peoples had the rushing touchdown. It accumulated at the end, but by no means in the first half did I think it was a competent offensive line unit that was good. If we were to play somebody big time right away, I don't think we would have been in a very good place. But we have these buffer games before we get to the Big Ten that I think we can work these guys along. And by the time we get to, Iowa, Michigan State, and then Oregon, the big one, I think these guys are going to be ready. I think, the ability is there, and we got to give Akron some credit. They have a fantastic D tackle in CJ Nunnally. We talked about him when we broke down the teams in the summer. He was causing a lot of trouble for our guards. Also, Donovan Jackson was not playing. That is our best offensive lineman. It's gonna take a little bit of time when you think, when you have a guy who's that good, who is going to start, and then he doesn't play. That could have been part of the early issues too. Offensive line, Jordan, is what I'm going to be watching going forward. Let's talk about the new quarterback, Will Howard. I'll start, and Jordan will be right back in. I thought Will Howard threw the ball very well. I like the way he delivers the ball, the way the ball comes out of his hand. He gets it out, and he throws a really nice ball. First drive, he didn't get any help. The 2 drops from Jeremiah Smith, and I'm trying to think who else dropped. They dropped the screen pass that Jeremiah Smith kind of blew the block on. After those 2 passes, I thought Will Howard was pretty spot on with his passes. What were your thoughts on Will Howard, and what did he do to impress you or concern you, Jordan?
Well, we'll start with the impress. He tied yardage in completion percentage with JT Barrett's first start. So historically, we're off to something positive. Okay. 200 plus yards, 2 touchdowns there to the young wide receiver that he's going to develop looks to be a very fruitful relationship with. Very positive. My only downside, there were times, Douglas, I felt like there was a throw in the third quarter where he was kind of rolling out, and he ended up throwing it out of bounds when there was some real estate in front of him. Okay. Maybe it's because it's week 1 in Akron. We're already up a couple of scores. So why sacrifice your body early? But in my mind, you play like you play. So I would like to see him make more plays with his legs. I know he had that 18-yard run, scramble up the middle. Very positive, good things to see. But I was kind of expecting more from the option runs and some self-keepers. But like I said, it was week 1. Maybe the playbook was limited, because I know you and I were kind of texting back and forth on each other, maybe pointing the compass that Chip Kelly wasn't, going to his full bag necessarily. But
yeah,
I would like to see more from Howard's legs, because that's kind of what was advertised when he came over here and transferred to Ohio State. Everybody was kind of highlighting his big plays with his legs when he was at Kent State. And we really didn't, outside that scramble, Doug, we really didn't see that. So that's something I'd like to see, more of, because that's his mobility is what got me excited when he came here. We knew he could toss the rock. He's going to have, some of the best wide receivers in the Big Ten, if not, top 5 in NCAA college. So I knew he was going to get his stats in the air. I'd like to see him more involved in the run game. But, as we alluded to at the beginning of this segment, offensive line had issues. Yeah. Maybe it wasn't worth risking it. Maybe I'm just over-hearting it. But, week 2 against Western Michigan, I would like to see, more of the option play and more of establishing kind of that 3-headed run monster that that we got so excited about in the preseason.
Okay. And yeah, I think you kind of answered your own question there. I don't think they're giving all that away early. I don't think we're giving away all of our wrinkles and things like that against Akron, a team that you're going to beat. I think we're saving those type things for Oregon, for Iowa, some of the harder defenses and teams we're going to play. I'm okay with some of the limited running from Will Howard because I want him to save his body for the bigger games. I think that matters also. We got to see Jeremiah Smith go out and catch 2 touchdowns. That guy's a freak. He's going to be excellent. We saw Carnell Tate catch one over the middle and turn on the burners for a nice, 30-yarder.
It was beautiful.
We did get to see the running backs get going a little bit. I thought, let's go letter grade here, Jordan. I'm going to give the guys a B for the win over Akron, 52-6. I'm going to give them a B. I think the offensive line, like I mentioned before, is a concern. Defense looks phenomenal. They're going to be great all year, in my opinion. Like you said, there's some the running game left a little bit to be desired. So I'm going to go B. What final letter grade are you going to give the Buckeyes before we move on?
I'm going to grade them separately. I'm going to grade the offense as a B, like you did, but I'm going to grade the defense as an A because rotational guy. Hicks didn't start the game at linebacker, but came in and made a huge sack, a huge play that kind of, in my mind, refired the game up. The defense scored twice, Douglas. Anytime you can produce points from defense is a huge win, even though it's against Akron. I think that's something in their future. That's something they harped on in a preseason, that we would like to see the defense be more dominant and score points. So that nothing to be desired there. Jack coming in from the defensive end, he didn't get home a lot, but he got pressure and he disrupted timing, and that Jack Sawyer, that was huge for him.
He put a lot of hits on the quarterback. Like you said, he didn't get the sacks, but he's a big part of the reason that Finley was on the sidelines before even halftime. I think Sawyer ended up with 2 tackles, but that does not tell the story of his pressures and things like that. I'm glad you highlighted Sawyer because I thought he had a great game in his own right. JTT ended up with a sack and a half. So the defense was working very hard. I think your grades are fair. The defense definitely deserves high praise because they were excellent for a vast majority of that game. And it really never felt like Akron could really score, those 3 points. The first one was a nice field goal. Second one, we understand it's the third quarter and things happen, but overall, very good effort from the guys. Let's transition, Jordan, because we did have a big weekend in college football. Let's talk a little bit about the teams around Ohio. We've already mentioned Akron. I think Akron, and you said it earlier in our breakdowns, you thought Akron was going to be a little bit better than what some of the projections and things were. I think that team, if they can get their quarterback healthy again, I think they could maybe take a few people by surprise. That defensive tackle, Nunnerly, that we talked about, really solid player. I think they have a future there, Jordan. What were your thoughts on Akron before we get into some of the other teams from Ohio?
Defensively, Douglas, I was really impressed with a lot of their efforts. You highlighted the defensive tackle there, but I think their linebacking core has something special going on. Those guys were, they were flying around the ball. They were doing some disruptive early. They played pretty well zone when it came to our backs and short yards passes that we try to get going on early on. So for them to hang that long and make that first half, really competitive when it comes to us playing Akron, a MAC team, that my hat's off to them. So I was really happy to see those guys step up and make some plays because they are one of the teams that we highlighted. And I thought their defense was going to be a lot better than what they projected. And Douglas, they did not disappoint. So I think, when they get to their regular scheduled programming, when it comes to MAC teams and MAC teams even a little bit lower than MAC, I think they're really going to come through and shine. So if you can give the Buckeyes hell for 2 quarters, you're going against a team more on your level and not on the athletes that Ohio State has. Mm-hmm. These guys are going to win some games defensively. So I really think they're going to disrupt some things. And even their backup quarterback, he was athletic. He extended plays. So I think even if their starter sits out for 2 to 3 weeks, I think they're going to be in a good position. So definitely hats off to Akron and their efforts because they came out swinging. So
Yeah,
It
no,
was
for
really
sure.
fun to watch.
Yep, let's touch on, and then Bowling Green this weekend put a nice beating down on Fordham, 41-17. Bowling Green's running back, 14 carries, 161 yards, 3 touchdowns. Their big tight end got in on the act, 6 catches for 67 yards. A nice game from Bowling Green. Toledo, we picked Toledo to win this one. It was against Duquesne, 49-10. Good for Toledo. Their quarterback threw for 3 touchdowns. Their wide receiver, 100 yards and a touchdown. Really nice game. Kent State took a loss from Pittsburgh. They kept it close, Jordan. They were battling until about late in the third, and then that's when Pittsburgh kind of separated from them. So Kent State moves to 0-1, but I thought they put up a solid effort against Pittsburgh when I was flipping through the channels. Ohio takes the loss to Syracuse. Syracuse scores 31 altogether in the second and third quarters, and they ended up winning 38-22. Kyle McCord threw for 4 touchdowns, Jordan, but we're not going to go into that guy. Tyus the third from Ohio University, 16 carries, 203 yards rushing, and 2 TDs. That guy's going to be a player to watch in Ohio as a running back, extremely talented player. And then Miami of Ohio loses to Northwestern 13-6. We both, I believe, picked Miami of Ohio to upset them. That was a really, really close game. And Northwestern, had that score in the third quarter. That was the difference. But, I think Miami of Ohio is going to be really, really good in the MAC this year. I would not be surprised if they don't win the MAC. So, that's our quick little.
They have UC on the schedule still, correct?
Yes, they do. And I was going to touch on them next.
Yeah, that's the game, Douglas. I may live tweet that game when it comes around. So
yep. And then since you brought him up, Cincinnati beats Townsend 38-20. Sorsby looks like he's going to be the guy for Cincinnati going forward. 383 passing yards, 2 TDs. Evan Pryor, the former Ohio State running back, 4 carries, 105 yards. That's like 26 yards a carry and 1 touchdown. I would like to see them hold Townsend to a little less points, but it does look like Cincinnati has some, players on the offense that they can rely on. They have Pitt this weekend in a rivalry game, so that'll be fun. And then they go at Miami of Ohio. So a couple good games there. Overall, Jordan, I thought it was a good weekend for Ohio teams overall. Some of our MAC teams obviously are playing good colleges. So I'm not, Miami Ohio loss, that's not a bad loss. That's just a tough ball game. I think we're gonna, we'll touch on obviously we're gonna touch on Ohio colleges the rest of the year because we did so much work with them in the summer. But Jordan, let's transition. We're gonna talk about. Wait, go ahead.
I do want to hit. It's not 100% Ohio related, but Douglas. Well, maybe I'll hit it on news and notes. I'll talk about USC breaking in to the Big Ten.
Yeah, save that for the end. Yep. And let's transition, Jordan, to the Cincinnati Reds, the team that we continue to talk about, and they continue to let us down. I haven't watched the last couple games. They've won a couple of these ones that I haven't watched. Jordan, what are your thoughts on the Cincinnati Reds right now? And we'll talk about this guy in the picture above, Rhett Lauder, here in a second. But what are your thoughts on the Reds as the season continues to wind down?
Well, Doug, I was happy. I was happy they won against the Astros today, but just playing the level of their competition. Stop me if I sound like a broken record. We just. It doesn't.
They played at the level of the competition against everybody but the Brewers. The Brewers absolutely own the Cincinnati Reds, and it blows my mind just how bad we are when it comes to playing the Brewers. But continue, because we did beat a good Astros team today.
Oh, we beat a good Astros team today, but I'll rewind to the Brewers, that 14-0 loss. That Douglas, I saw the score and I thought I was playing backyard baseball game. The video game you and I played back in the 2000s. Like I was dumbfounded. I didn't tweet much about it. I kind of shut down, I kind of shut down my Reds mentality after that.
Yeah.
We're sports analysts. So once again, I'm not going to stop covering them per se, but that 14-0 loss pretty much ripped my heart out and sealed the deal for, just kind of the season in general. So once that happened, we didn't necessarily stop. I was happy to see they beat the Astros today because I absolutely despise the Astros. Period. That's for another conversation for another day. But like you said, the rest of the season is an evaluation of who's staying and who's going moving forward.
Right.
And it's just got to be that way. So I'll let you touch in on some of the young arms we got going on now. But go ahead and break that down for me. I was happy to see it.
Yeah, so Rhett Lauder got his first start, the second game of the doubleheader. He pitched 4 innings, gave up 2 hits, 1 earned run, had 6 Ks, 4 walks. Jordan, to me, he feels like a guy who could be like a third in a good starting rotation. He could be if we could get Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo locked in 1 and 2. Rhett Lauder feels like he could be a solid 3, and I think he could be a solid 3 as a holdover for Chase Burns, who, in my opinion, has a little bit higher ceiling than Rhett Lauder. Lauder did have 4 walks, but I felt like some of that's your first start. You're a little bit nervous. He looked good on his strikeout pitches, and when he left the game, Jordan, when Rhett Lauder left the game, it was 1-0, Jordan. 1-0.
Yeah.
In the ninth inning, the Reds gave up 10 runs. We know what happened. Luke Maley came in and after Zuluda and gave up 6 runs. We understand that. So really, it was more like 8-0 after some bad bullpen pitching. I like Rhett Lauder. I think he is going to be a piece in this rotation next year. I think he has good potential. It's going to be interesting to see how all that shakes out. Hunter Greenback, Nick Lodolo, Rhett Lauder will probably be in that spot. Andrew Abbott, and that's your 4, and then we'll see who takes that 5th spot. Brandon, maybe Williamson. We'll see. I feel pretty good about the rotation next year. But, Jordan, it all comes down to, is the Reds front office going to be serious in the offseason? Are they going to take care of David Bell and get him out of here? Or are we going to do this all again? Because defense, again, Jonathan India and Ellie De La Cruz, no communication. Ellie should have called the ball. India drops it. It's happened so much the entire year that it's hard to even remember all of them.
Yeah.
The team is undisciplined. We need a better manager. We need a manager who has accountability, who isn't afraid to get in somebody's ass. The only time we ever see David Bell get upset is with balls and strikes. We don't see him get on anybody. We don't see him do any of that. He wants to be a player's manager, but it's not helping the Reds. The Reds aren't getting better with him as the manager. If anything, we've gotten worse. It's time, buddy. I know we keep talking about it, but I would like to see the front office get it in gear, make a big offer to an outfielder in the offseason. And this pitching staff has a potential, Jordan. I think Alexis Diaz has pitched his last season in Cincinnati.
Oh, I agree.
I think Cruz is probably on the way out. Also, those guys probably should have been traded at the deadline, but we were battling and maybe thought something could go our way. And the Reds have really stunk after the All-Star break.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, there was some times there where we got close. They were 1 game under, and Kansas City said, "No, you're not those guys," and we got sent back down. But next year, I think it's got to be an all-in season. We got to have all of our chips on the table. Matt McClain back. Ellie will be another year older. India will be more in a platoon spot. CES will be back at first base. The injuries will be, wiped clean, and we'll have a clean slate. I think all the chips have to be on the table next year, and I think they have to make a real splash in the outfield, in my opinion. And one more thing. Sorry, buddy. If there is a pitcher out there who is a solid, 10 to 15 game winner who's maybe looking for a 1-year deal, don't be scared to spend some money and go get one of these guys. Lugo for Kansas City. There's a couple different guys who are signed these 1-year deals, and we get stuck with Frankie fucking Montas when we could have went out and got some, don't be scared to go out and get one of these guys and try to solidify that starting 5 rotation wise. But Jordan, we've harped on the Reds super hard. I'm going to let you finish it out, but it's just disappointing is all. It's the main thing is it's disappointing.
I'm glad you caught that at the end. All I was really going to add is that maybe we go out and spend some cap on a solidified, veteran pitcher that's looking for a real situation, and that would kind of solidify my thoughts on it. But I think this young man after his first start, I think he takes that the Ashcraft spot. Next season we get him in that 3 to 4 rotation. Like you said, 4 innings looked really good. had some solid strikeouts, and he was playing against a talent, one of the most talented teams in the NL, Doug. So we can't take that away from him.
Yeah.
So really excited to move forward and really see where it goes. So like you said, we'll put a bow on it. We'll send it off. We'll talk about them next Thursday if need be, and we'll move on.
All right, buddy. Let's transition to the Cleveland Guardians because they're in the thick of the pennant race, and we would like to give them some proper time on the show tonight. Cleveland 79-59. They won the first game against the Royals. They've got the Royals again tomorrow night. It was nice to see both Ohio teams win tonight. Jordan, the Royals and the Guardians. This is going down to the wire. This is going to be a fun NL or AL Central battle. Even the Twins are in here. Twins are 4 games back. Yep. Royals are 4.5 games back. Guardians, we keep thinking that they're falling apart, and then they win a couple games here, and they're right back in, and they've maintained that lead at first place. It's nice to have a team in Ohio that's right up the road that we can just we can look at and be like, despite their front office not doing everything they can, these guys battle their asses off and are just somehow a competitive baseball team, and I love it. Quick thoughts on the Guardians, buddy.
No, like you said, right when we think that the world is falling in Cleveland, when it comes to the Guardians, they bounce back. They have that offense that can do that, Doug. So they can, regardless of their pitching staff, we know it's a little thin. We've harped on it through the season. We know, that their back end is great when it comes to saves, but that middle that lineup for their pitching, that day 2, day 3, day 4 guy, still kind of in the air in my opinion, but the Cleveland Guardians, they continue to find ways to win, and that's because they're sound defensively. They don't make a lot of mistakes out in the field. Their bats come, they crush it about every other game. They have two separate players at 100 RBIs or more. That's huge, and you highlight that, you put it together, and that's why they continue to pull away. So I think they're going to be right there, Douglas. They're going to be an entertaining series. They may or may not get that 2-game, 3-game series in the beginning, but I think they're going to be there. I think they're going to be there in October, making a lot of noise, and their offense is going to be the ones that has to carry them to the promised land. For sure. Their pitching staff is not great enough to go that far, in my opinion. So they got to put these guys away early. So they got to win it. They got to win it in game 3. They got, and move on, move forward, and just continue to crush the ball. So you crush the ball, you play well defensively, and it's going to help that back end of the rotation when it comes to their pitching. And the Cleveland Guardians, Douglas, they might do it. They might make some noise. Like you said, this is the most competitive they've been in years, in the post-Franco era when it came to their managers. So I'm excited. I'm here for it.
Yep. Quick shout out to Keith. Keith is a Penn State fan. We've been chatting it up a little bit on the Ohio Sports Talk page. Solid guy. Thank you, Keith, for tuning into the show tonight. We really appreciate it. Jordan, tomorrow night, like I said, 7:40, Tanner Beebe versus Brady Singer, Cleveland versus Kansas City. That's going to be a damn good game where we get to see 2 excellent players in Jose Ramirez and Bobby Witt Jr. Battle it out on the hitting side of things. But the Cleveland Guardians, man, they just keep churning. They just keep churning. The wheels fall off, but they put it back together and they keep it rolling. And we're definitely looking forward to them hopefully making a run come playoff time. Jordan, let's transition. The FC Cincinnati boys, they get back.
Let's go!
Hey, I wrote them off, Jordan. I said that I've seen enough. You said nope. We're not done. We're not done yet. They come back and they beat Montreal 4-1. Jordan, it was nice to see them get out and get 4 goals and really put a team away. I believe it was 4-0, and Montreal put one in late. I'm going to double check the stats for you guys. In the 81st minute, Montreal puts one in 4-1. It was just great to see the guys get back together. Luca Aureliano with the 2 goals, Sergio Santos with the goal, Kevin Kelsey with the goal. We're still missing our guy, Acosta, but things were better tonight in terms of the offense, in my opinion. Things were better Saturday night in terms of the offense, getting the ball around and doing those type of things. What were your thoughts, Jordan?
Doug, they finally, somebody finally stepped up. So, like you said, Luka, 2 huge goals. I felt like the offense really revolved around him. A lot of ball movement, percentage-wise. They continue to dominate the game, and it finally cashed out. It finally cashed out for the win. Where the game before that, Douglas, the stats said we should have won.
Right.
We controlled the ball more. We had more corner kicks, but they just couldn't seem to find the net. The legs kind of looked tired when it got to the 40, the 50th minute of everything that I watched, and it just culminated to a loss. So for us to come out with the absolute, it was better energy. They just looked more organized. Everybody seemed to be communicating well. A little bit more passion. We had a couple cards go out, but Douglas, you're playing MLS soccer. I feel like if you're not getting a card at least a couple times a game, you shouldn't be out there. You got to have some passion. So, I was really happy to see it. Like you said, we gave up the late goal. That's 100% acceptable.
Yeah,
and
not a big deal.
we just got to build off this and move on. We're still right in between everything. Columbus is right there. We know what Inter Miami is, and we got to take the torch and continue to run with it.
Yep. And then to touch on the stats real quick, 55% possession to 44%, 6 shots on goal. We touched on that, Jordan. We had the shots on goal, but they just weren't getting into the back of the net the last couple of games. Tonight they did. 4 goals, 16 shot attempts, 13 fouls, Jordan, which I kind of like because Montreal had 16 fouls. And to me, that means you're not backing down from anything they're doing. And they're trying to maybe take you out of your game. And we were staying in the game, still putting shots on the goal, doing all that kind of stuff. 3 yellow cards for each team, 7 corner kicks, Jordan. That all puts pressure on the defense. And FC did a great, great job. Great to see those guys get back in the win column. They're up to 51 points. If you look at the fixtures, the standings, getting it pulled up here. They are still Miami pretty much has it locked up. They have 59 points. FC Cincinnati has 51. The Crew have 49. So right now it's more of a battle for second and third than it is for first at this time. You never know. Injuries happen. Things happen. Something could change there. But we need to keep playing good soccer here down the stretch. Got to keep the wins coming, buddy. Next game is against the Columbus Crew. That is in 12 days, 7:30, and that is a massive, massive game. Massive game, which we'll talk about more.
I think whoever wins that's going to win second place. I mean,
and that's it.
It almost has to be.
That is in Cincinnati, Jordan, at TQL Stadium. So that's a massive game. That'll be on the MLB or MLS season pass. So we'll talk on that. We'll talk about that when that time comes. That's in 12 days. So we got a little bit of time to go there. Jordan, let's get into the news and notes. You wanted to talk about USC for whatever reason. Welcome to the Big Ten. They beat LSU. So give us your thoughts there, buddy.
It's only because I despise Brian Kelly. So let me just put it out there.
Why do you care? Why do you care about Brian Kelly?
Didn't love his transition out of Cincinnati, just like everybody else. Uses him as a stepping stone. Luke Fickell included in that conversation nowadays, but just his demeanor as a coach. So, but Douglas, we're Ohio State fans, which means I think the Big Ten only lost 1 game this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. I believe we went 15-1.
Yeah, I'll double check while you talk. Yep.
But as of this broadcast, we went 15-1. So for a Big Ten team to come out against a higher ranked opponent, an SEC opponent, for that matter, we know the Big Ten and SEC. We always go at each other's throats. So for them to really cap it off and kind of in a dominant fashion, in a 2-minute drill, I was happy to see it. I won't go into great details of the game. Just welcome to the Big Ten. I was really happy to see it. We saw other teams, as we're highlighting it. Oregon looked a little flat.
Yeah.
I know we highlighted that in kind of a live tweet way. So for a team that everybody had wrote off, including myself, USC coming to the Big Ten, making a big statement. Why Oregon kind of had a questionable beginning. It was fun to see, Douglas, because it's football, it's sports. It's any given Saturday, any given Sunday, anytime we kick off for any given day. I love to see it. It felt like a good story. So that's the only reason I really want to highlight that. But I'll let you take the mic. Anything around the league that you saw this weekend, or anything you kind of want to touch on before we get out of here tonight?
Not really. We had our fantasy football draft last night. I wanted to just quick shout out to everybody who tuned in and hung out with us during the fantasy football draft. That was a lot of fun. Just had a good time chopping it up with you. Roshi stopped in. Tyler stopped in. It's going to be a fun league. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who watched that live show last night. That was really awesome. 82 live viewers right now, Jordan. So appreciate each and every one of you guys also. And, man, Thursday's going to be fun, dude. We've got Bengals, Browns. We got a lot to get into with those two games, make our predictions. I think we're going to maybe put in a little bit of a bet here, a little Ohio against the world type bet. That'll be fun. Okay. So we got some things going on Thursday night, and then we're going to be getting ready for the Ohio State versus Western Michigan game. So Thursday's going to be a hell of a night. NFL kicks off Thursday night, Jordan. We've got college football going on right now. Florida State's getting beat by Boston College. Florida, besides Miami right now, Florida cannot get their shit together in terms of college football, and you love to see it. You absolutely love to see these teams struggle because they were so damn good in the early thousands. It's great to see now. But hell of a show tonight, buddy. We're at 40-minute mark. Is there anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
No, we appreciate everybody that really tuned in with us last night. It was super fun. I can't wait for all the smack that's going to be down for these fantasy teams. Yep. So we're Douglas. We're just in that fun part of the sports season where we got baseball wrapping up. We got college, football in the heat of the moment, and now we got the NFL kicking off. We've always had the MLS. So right now, Douglas, we're in the busiest time of our season, and I couldn't love it more. The stories that are going to come out of it, the injuries, the highs, the lows. Everybody buckle in. It's going to be a hell of a ride. Come take it with us. Continue to come out with us here. We're Ohio Sports Talk. We're on every Monday and Thursday between 9 or 9:15. Whenever I can get my ass on a broadcast, depending on the day. But we're gonna have fun, Doug. This is our first football season officially together. As an announcing team. So I'm excited, Doug. I'm excited. We finally got here. We started this program back in May. So we covered a lot of basketball. We covered a lot of basketball tournaments. We were just waiting our time to finally get into the thick of things when it comes to sports. So, Douglas, I'm fucking pumped. I'm going to use a little language.
Hey, okay.
I'm ready.
I'm excited too, man.
I'm ready to go. And, cheers to what this season's going to hold. Cheers, and, buddy. We're going to rock it. So thank you, everybody, tuning in.
FYI, I do apologize, but unless you contact me 3 weeks beforehand, I cannot do anything when the Browns are on TV. I love you guys, but I can't do it. I won't leave the house. I won't do it. No, I'm just kidding. I was excited to be asked, but I got to be locked in for that first game. Quick shout out to Jenna. She missed the live last night. Hey, you snooze, you lose. Somehow you got drafted the best team grade wise. That was bullshit. So, but you snooze, you lose. Jordan, this has been Ohio Sports Talk. I'm your host, Doug. That's the coach, Jordan Maxson. We will be back Thursday at 9:15. We got a loaded show. Buckeyes, Bengals, Browns, the 3 Bs for the state of Ohio. We'll be all over it. Jordan, can't wait to be back with you on Thursday, buddy. See ya next time.